It's a great honor for us today. And Dr. Pallavi Kwatra and to grace and join us in the celebration of the 700 uninterrupted JNANA YAJNA, the 700 plus hours of the flow of Nana from my Guru Mandala. I am only Mike. I am just Mike. That the Nana of Guru Mandala has flown out to reach all of us for 700 plus continuous hours to welcome two great personalities. Should I use the great sadhakas? Why not? Why not? When I look at their profile, yes, and 700 is a unique number. 700 shlokas in Durga Saptashati. 700 visions. Same thing, 700 days today. In the presence of Mahakali and Mahalakshmi, and all others are Mahasaraswatis here. Listen to Dr. Pallavi Kwatra has responsibility before introducing Pallavi Kwatra. Or in disciple, Virendra Sharma ji asked her without any second thought, simply she accepted. It is an honor to be here. We are all blessed. All those who are present today are blessed, actually. No, it is the experience. The experience can't be explained. No? So, let me first introduce you to. He is the anesthesiologist. That means during the surgery, they make the patient to lose prajna. Is it so? That is his profession, her profession. But you know what she is doing? In reality, she is bringing an his prajna. She is awakening our prajna. What a contrast character is. In one sentence, I have explained, described Dr. Pallavi. Hope I am very clear in my understanding of Pallavi. In Kannada, they say, anesthesia is not a correct word. In Kannada, they say, Arivalike Tagna. Arivalike, Arivu they call it. Arivu is pragna. The pragna is gone during surgery. She does in the hospital. But when she comes out, she makes the Arivu is getting Jagra in all of us. What a wonderful contrast. What a wonderful change of two compartments. Dr. Pallavi Kwatra, Namo Namaha, I can say. Pallavi Kwatra wrote many books. Many books. And if I want to talk about each book, little about it, the whole day will go off. I don't want to speak. But one book I should speak. Shiva Shakti Talks. It is the essence of Vijnana Bhairava. She just puts in one sentence, made us enjoy that Vijnana Bhairava, each shloka. Great. Dr. Pallavi, salutations to you. And when silence speaks, another one. Okay. There are many like this. Be loud. And another thing you should see is a free book. 1,000 sacred avatars of Sri Lalita Tripura Sundari as depicted in Sahasranama. She has picturized it. What a wonderful! I have gone to the book. When you chant that Sahasranama, look at that. That experience only to be experienced. And she is also with Science Mart, which is organic and spiritual store. And they make Shastrokta Mahamir. I have seen that. And Virendra Sharma has got it. And all her books are published by Sabir Publishing. And she also has an Adhyatmik trust. And that reads, great things are not done by impulse, but by a series of small things brought together. That's it. So, every 1 hour, every day, that small things, it has made a great things, a series of small things that happen today. This is that 700th day, right? And her book, Ganesha and his 32 forms, worth to book. Shambhavi is another one. And as I mentioned, Shiva Shakti talks is unique of its kind. I never thought that such a most secretive, esoteric meaning, Vijnana Bhairava can be put so easily. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Dr. Pallavi Kwatra. And if I go on talking, I think I will not be able to give you time for to address us. So, and when speaks is Bhagavan Ramaharshi. On that she writes, yes. I remember a statement. There were 2 contemporaries, Chinmaya and Ramana. One is a speaker, one is a silence. One is Mauni, one is Chinmaya, goes on speaking, Ramana speaks with silence. Is it not, we have described Dakshinamurti as Mauna Vyakhyana? Is it not the same thing when silence speaks? And another one book, definitely I must refer here, The Musings of the Awakening Soul. These are the books sold internationally. This is how our culture, our understanding of Tantra Shastra, there's no apprehension here to anybody. Shri Vidya sadhana is a secret sadhana that should be between Guru and Shishya, no doubt. This JNANA YAJNA has not done teaching any Shri Vidya. But this JNANA YAJNA has done is, whatever the scriptures available, we want to give them an idea about it, so that they get interest in Shri Vidya and they approach the proper Guru, appropriate Guru, and so that their sadhana can be continued. No secrets of Shri Vidya are revealed during this JNANA YAJNA. If somebody has such a misconcept, they may be taken away. It's not. It's like JNANA YAJNA, as I said, as Jagadish puts it, all these 700 days, they have dealt with, initially, we begin with Devi Bhagavata, dealt with Chintamani Gruha, etc. in a certain manner. Then we came into Durga Saptashati, which has been read very widely all over the country, but it has got 7 tikas, 7 bhashyas, including one from Bhaskaramiti Gutavati. So, referring to those bhashyas, with my very humble knowledge of this thing, I try to put its meaning, both regular meaning and its different meanings also, Durga Saptashati. It doesn't talk about Shri Vidya, etc. I have explained them what they are in Durga Saptashati. And by the grace of Guru Mandala, by the total support of my Guru Putra, we were able to give in Kannada and Telugu, and Tamil version also will be coming up now by Uma Maheshwari, the perfect text of Durga Saptashati, followed by our Guru Parampara for ages. For ages. Perfect Patha, And we are happy that that Pata has been approved by Sringeri Mahasamsthana. They took a lot of time for it. We have to face a lot of questions from them and approved by them. He was very happy that even Sringeri Mat also has its copy of Saptashati. Is it not? Our Guru Mandala is so great, so great that whatever is followed by Guru Mandala is also approved by Sringeri Mahasamsthana. How much we are blessed. How much we are blessed to be belong to this Guru Mandala. That's all. I thought very high about Guru Mandala. Many times I spoke. There are so many, I don't say anybody wrong. There may be hundreds of paramparas with Shividya person. No doubt. Nothing is less, nothing more. But Guhananda Parampara, beginning from Sri Vidyaranya Mahaswami, no doubt has its own uniqueness in Sri Vidya. My tears are flowing out. I can't control my emotion when I mention this. It begins from Vidyaranya Mahaswami. As I mentioned, Shanta, Vimala, Prakasha, Atma, Guha, Chit, Yoga, Vratra. This is how the whole lineage has come. It's a great parampara. Very great parampara. What is the contribution from Chidanandana? Chividya Saparya Padati. Used all over the authentic text for Chidanandanatha, my Parameshta Guru, responsible for restoring Sri Chakra Ramavarana Puja in Kamakshi temple, which was stopped for a long time. What a credit our Guru Mandala has. Are we not proud, blessed of being in this Guru? Sorry, I'll stop here. Because if I go on talking my Guru Parampara, I lose myself. I lost from. So, Dr. Pallavi Kwatra, I welcome you on behalf of all participants here, and also on behalf of my Guru Putra and his Sahashishyas and others in the group of Lalita, Parananda. There are two groups in our paramparas in Chennai they are operating. Most of them are here on behalf of them also. I welcome you. And the subject you have chosen was wonderful. Tantra and advice. Was it not the mission of Shankara Bhagavad Pada? One side Advaita Samsthapaka, yes, promulgated Advaita Siddhanta. On the other hand, Prapancha Sara and Saundara Lahari. Saundara Lahari, nobody can dispute the essence of Tantra Shastra. I think if you can understand Saundara Lahari, with my humble understanding, I am very, very small fellow. The whole Tantra Shastra is very much the essence of Saundara Lahari and Prapancha Sara. So what a combination today in front of us when she chosen Tantra and Dr. Pallavi Kwatra. Flowing the floods of love from my heart. Love flowing out of my as a flood. I welcome you. Request you on behalf of all. Please take your own time. No limitation, please. Today is limitless time we have. Please enlighten us. Speak about Tantra and Advaita. Bindu consciousness in non-duality. What a wonderful subject you have taken. Please, please, please. Welcome. Welcome her with a big applause, please. If you can, please do it.
Srimatre Namaha. Good evening to all of you who are in the Indian time zone, and namaskar to all those who are attending this sacred event. It's a great honor to be invited here for this satsang. Just because of the kind of love with which I have been invited. I am so grateful for this invitation. and being present with all of you here on this evening that marks the culmination of the uninterrupted 700 days of great discipline and surrender. It's actually amazing that how all of you have managed to complete this without a break, in spite of, I can imagine the different kind of situations that most of you must be going through while the corona epidemic was raging on, the pandemic. And all of you must be going through your own set of personal issues, but still, in spite of that, you've managed to overcome everything and accomplish 700 days. So 700 days is approximately 2 years. So, like, how could you actually do it? It just couldn't be done with a pure sankalpam, because it must have occurred by the anugraham, not by mere sankalpam. With Devi's anugraham, with her grace alone, is it possible to accomplish such a task? So I'm really happy to be here, and I wish to convey my deep gratitude to Swamiji, Atmanandanatha Guruji, and all his disciples who have been here. And I, I might not know all of you by names or in person, but essentially our heart is always connected. So I also wish to say that any of you wish to ever reach out to me, I am always available, and I would love to be knowing you or to get in touch with you and understand and hear what you have to say. Also, I'd like to introduce myself, though I think that the introduction has far beyond exceeded what I would have said for myself. Guruji has very detailed, in a very detailed way, he has spoken about uh, the works that I have done so far. But I will go back to Uma's chanting of the Guru Stotram, where this hymn is actually the backbone of what I have done so far. That no matter what you do in this world, how far you excel or what you accomplish, everything, the world applauds you and the world criticizes you. Everything is happening at the same time, but essentially that state of brahmananda within you, that bliss within you, is that uninterrupted presence and peace within you, comes to you with the grace of the Guru alone. And like in the, if you have read the meaning of this hymn, so it's very beautiful that this hymn states that what will I do with, what is the use of worldly fame, of my riches, of my family members, of my health? Everything is insignificant until and unless I do not have the grace of my Guru. So all of you here who are in the Guru Satsang and follow Guruji, so essentially a Guru is a torchbearer for you. He is, it's a relationship that cannot be explained in words. You might have very close associations with many people around you, your family members, everything. But the association with your Guru is so intimate that it cannot be explained, and the gratitude can never be repaid back. Whatever offerings you might make, whatever you might do for your Guru, will never be enough for the compassion that he shares for you. So always be grateful for that opportunity to be in this circuit of love and affection with your Guru. And it's a blessing to have a living Guru who can guide you, who can tread your steps, who can nag you, who can scold you, everything. So just follow the steps so that you are led more and more to yourself alone. The true Guru is always somebody who reflects you to yourself. So essentially, Guruji is exemplifying this by his humility to thank all of you before he actually thanked any of us being here. So today I'm very happy to talk about a topic which I just chose. I didn't choose it because I was said that I was just invited to speak, and the next second I just saw myself typing out the topic without even understanding what or why I should speak on it. But later, when I reflected, I understood that this topic is really important for all of us because I see a lot of people who are stuck in belonging to a certain cult or a tradition or a path, and it's not it's not about being disciplined on the path, but it's about becoming fanatical about it. So there's a lot of conflict that happens, and people tend to fight with each other depending on what they're really so driven to believe in as the ultimate path. So Tantra and Advaita both are very recognized paths, and people from all over the world are following it. But essentially, I want to bring them together into one because essentially they cannot be different if they are the truth. So today's topic is about Tantra and Advaita, and it's analogous to the Bindu of the Sri Yantra or the Sri Chakra. How the Bindu is actually exemplifying the non-dual consciousness and how we are to arrive at it. So I'll just not taking more time on this. I have written down a few words. It'll be I will speak it out for you. It may take another 5 minutes, so I'll just take that liberty to take that time. Today, I speak from my limited viewpoint and not from the authority of being an expert on any matter. I speak from the heart of a devotee and from the standpoint of my own learnings and perceptions across a limited period of time. So kindly forgive my omissions and allow the judging mind to take a back step to simply just be in this moment and enjoy this hearing. In my own spiritual journey, I have been lucky to walk all the four paths of bhakti, kriya, karma, and jnana yogas and found deep connecting dots amongst them. The cults of paths, practices, gurus, and programming have lost their clutch on this mind now after the single running thread has been witnessed in great detailing and observation. All paths have led me only to myself, and hence I speak from a neutral standpoint of not belonging to any spiritual lineages of Sri Vidya or any other traditions. The paths of Tantra and Advaita have fascinated me, and this inspiration has led me to wander deep into their wisdom. Essentially, Tantra is freedom and beingness of this moment. It is a spontaneity and flow of life and not a set of practices, techniques, etc. Tantra is the breathing, pulsatile spanda of each and every living moment. And hence, if one wishes to relish it as a state alone, rather than a medium to an end, one has arrived at a more mature outlook towards Tantra. Tantra practices are aesthetically and powerfully designed to awaken one with pleasure as well as aware engagement both at once. Sri Vidya, being one of its tenets, is the path of worship of the Shakti principle, and as we all know, it's a celebration of the atomic substratum of our universe. Advaita is the Jnana Marga based on the use of the mind to grasp its own source by the intriguing question, who am I? And discarding everything else as unreal, which is commonly known as neti neti. This happens to come to one single source point, which is the self. Rather dry and difficult for most of us, Advaita is a razor sharp, steep uphill curve without any deviations. And it is for a mature mind only, as the body mind identity is mostly too strong for all of us to discard as unreal. In my own journey, I found the paths culminating at the lotus feet of my Guru, Sri Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi. Most of us know him for Advaita and the inquiry method he strongly advocated to all those who visited him and had questions. But to the minds that approached him with surrender and devotion, he displayed the karuna of the mother and took complete responsibility for their lives. We may learn and accumulate many things in our lives, but only with the grace of the Guru, we may find real meaning to what we have learned. We may experience the truth rather than just knowing it. And in that experience, be set free from the strong biases and paradoxes that we may hold against paths or people who are different from us. As we all know, the Bindu of the Sri Yantra is the final apex point. What is the characteristic of this Bindu as a dot? A dot has no beginning or end and can only be a single entity. Hence, a Bindu is a manifested consciousness of oneness. In view of the personal spiritual story of a sadhak, the Bindu represents the final point of culmination where all becomes one. This Advaita Bhava is not an intellectual point where the ego is focused to arrive, but is the Hridayam or the womb of all knowing. The point where the mind has sunk into the heart. A place of shunyata where the Triputi Bheda of Drigdrishya Viveka, which is knowing, known, and the act of knowing, all become one. There is nothing to be done here. There's no purpose here. There's no doing here. Only beingness happens in its spontaneity. The sadhak is a Jivan Mukta at this point, where his liberation prevails in spite of his engagements of all types. This Ardhanarishwara state of Shiva Shakti Sambhoga is the Atma Bindu or the self of the Sri Yantra or the Sri Chakra. The Bindu is the Mauna of the self, where all mental judgments have drowned and only the pure being exists, living in solitude, silence, and freedom. In light of the sacred text Lalita Sahasranama, I would like to quote a few names which point towards the Bindu Bhava and how it can be cultivated by us. Manan, Jigyasa, and Sadhana. All three are necessary when one wishes to aim for such a state. The quest to know the self, the sadhanas to develop willpower, and the inner meditation to absorb the understanding. So all three are equally essential when one is to arrive at the final point. After this is done, there comes a point where there is no amount of effort or intention that can make liberation possible. And it is only at divine timing and in abundance that the fruit will ripen. But until that point, we have to continue to do the manan, we have to continue to do the jigyasa, and we have to continue the sadhana. All the three tenets have to be followed till the point that where there is a satiety level, where there is a peace, there is a silence, and there is nothing really to achieve to become even liberation actually, or mukti as a goal has left you. I don't know if I am wrong or right on this, but I think that at that point of the bindu, there is no aspiration to even have mukti. You're just as you are, simply as you are. You don't have any spiritual desire, you don't have any material desire, you don't have any inclination, you don't have any bias, you don't have any aversion, you don't have any repulsion. It's a placid place of just being yourself in your sehed state of the self. So that is exactly what I'm trying to bring around here, and that is the Bindu consciousness. So whatever practices we might be doing in Sri Vidya, the ultimate point is to arrive at this place, at the Bindu, where everything is one. There is no inhibition, and there is no bias, both. Okay. So I'm also going to quote three names from the Lalita Sahasranama. So verse 178 of the Lalita Sahasranama says, I quote, Bindu Tarpana Santushta, unquote, which means she who is pleased by the offerings to the Bindu. So we may offer haldi, kumkum, external abhishekams, flowers, etc. to the Bindu of the Sri Yantra as a part of our daily practices. But what exactly is the offering that mother is asking from us? All these are metaphoric, external manifestations of our devotion. But what is she actually seeking from you as the offering on the Bindu? That is your ego that needs to be, that needs to be surrendered at that lotus feet. That idea of identity, I, identity of your body mind, which you're so clung to that, like, I'm the one who's doing the abhishekam, I'm the one who's doing the sadhana. So she's like saying, no, you just leave this I first right now, you know. So the essential offering to the Bindu, which she is going to be pleased with, is your own ego and identity consciousness. The second name which I want to bring around is name 625, which is Kaivalya Padadaini, which is also very beautiful because what is the Kaivalya state? What is the state? The Kaivalya state is the state of non-duality, is the state of pure self, is the state of the Atman, is the state of the Brahman, which has got no identity with, which has got no identification with what your mind body complex is doing. So she is the grantor of that state. But how will she grant it until you have not even sought that? You're still, you're still trapped in the form, and like she's actually so erotic. She's actually so beautiful. She's actually so graceful. She's actually full of siddhi and maya and so much. So you are forgetting the point where what you need from her. So our mother is somebody who is going to feed her when we are going to cry for it. So, but we are crying for all the silly stuff. We are not asking her for that Kaivalya state. Though she is the grantor of that, she's waiting to grant it to you, but you're not even seeking it. So Kaivalya Padadaini is a very wonderful name that I resonate with. And then there is verse 162 of the Lalita Sahasranama, which states, I quote, Antarmukha Samaradhya Bahirmukha Sudurlabha, unquote, in which he's reminding us not to focus our awareness on external things, but nudging us to look within and realize her as the self. So there's no difference between Devi and us. They're not two. You're not like one level below, or you're not like worshipping to a form draped in a silk sari. No, that is not Sri Vidya. Sri Vidya is Atma Vidya. Atma Vidya means the jnana of the self. So she's asking you to identify her yourself as her only, but you are only focused on going one step below and saying, no, I am devotee. I want to remain devotee throughout your life. Why should you want to remain a devotee when she has given you a state of being the Maharagni? You are the Maharagni. You are the empowered one. And still you go around like a beggar asking for things. So she's asking you to focus the attention within so that you see the reflection, see the greatness of who you are, see the glory of who you are. But your attention and your awareness is focused on the external upasanas, the external sadhanas, and many other things, like reading scriptures and accumulating information and becoming more knowledgeable. I'm not saying it's wrong. Obviously, there is a role for everything. There's a role for scripture reading, there's a role for sadhana. But essentially, you have to do the self inquiry and see her as your own reflection. So I think I just took too much of time because I was also flowing in the same way that Guruji was flowing. So I just wish and congratulate all of you again for having completed this amazing, anugraham of Devi. I would not say this is your sankalpam. It would not have been possible without that anugraham. And I wish all of you a celebratory and awakened journey to your own Bindu. The Bindu is not outside you. The Bindu is who you are. Just see it for that. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. Namaste.
Dr. Pallavi.
Dr. Pallavi, what words I should use to thank you? I lost words because you spoke my mind. Nothing less, nothing more. Nothing less. I mean it. I mean it. You spoke exactly my mind. Do you know my mind reading also? I doubt very much.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Pallavi, I tell you.
It's just that your mind is not different from mine. That's why I can speak on your behalf, because I exactly know that we are a part of this entire self. So your mind and my mind are not different, and I'm not a mind psychic reader. It's just so
Yeah,
simply
not
present to
that's
me.
but just
Yes,
for a no, as a humor I mentioned it.
yes.
I tell you, we are in such a state today. When you said we are Maharajni, we are Mahadevi. Here is the place. Lot has to be done by sadhaki like you, who have a role better than us, to see what the Bindu is, what the Tantra is Shastra, what is non-duality, all this you have.